Hello, everybody, and welcome to Western Oklahoma Sports Night. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, and we are here with you for the week to talk sports in Western Oklahoma, and so much going on, but we want to remind you to be sure and follow us here on our YouTube page. Please subscribe at Lawdog Sports, and then also you can listen to the podcast at your convenience on any one of our platforms, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, or Google Podcasts. And you can get links to all of those at our website, Lawdog Sports. Well, it is springtime in Oklahoma, and other than the storms and all the constant rain, we have a lot of sports still going on, many sports winding up with soccer and baseball state tournaments and state playoffs going on. Golf and track and field is this weekend, so much going on in the state of Oklahoma. And then also afterwards, when the season is kind of wound down, we'll have a lot of other events, such as the Western Oklahoma Baseball Coaches Association game, which will be typically been held in Weatherford. But also one of the biggies that I came to know about once we moved out here to Western Oklahoma, I can't say I knew a whole lot about it before, but it has been going on 37 years. It's the 101 Classic Bowl, and it's going to be held the week of May 26th through May 31st here in this next upcoming couple of weeks. And so much fanfare that goes along with that, and it's a big boom for the city of Woodward and also Woodward Boomer Athletics, if you like what I did there with the wordage. But if you're going to talk Woodward sports and you're going to talk K101, you got to talk to Tyler Riggs, my buddy, who is the voice of the Woodward Boomers on K101 and does a great job up there. He joins us here tonight on Western Oklahoma Sports Night. Tyler, maybe I should have called this Northwestern Oklahoma Sports Night with you popping up there.
Yeah, maybe so. But Mr. Ramsey, hey, thanks for having me on. This is fantastic. I always appreciate the work you do as well. So it's good to get together again, man. Talk a little all-star event, if you will.
Yeah, we're fellow travelers when it comes to the high school sports because of the games between Weatherford and Clinton, and Weatherford and Woodward and Clinton and teams that are on the network for where I work at Wright Media. And then K101, you guys, man, you such a powerful signal. I listen quite a bit to K101 all the way down here in Thomas. But you guys, I know that you cover a lot of sports and a lot of teams up there because of the proximity of so many of the programs to Woodward, which is kind of the hub up that way. But I think we talked last year, and you were Woodward was not in the playoffs, but Sealing was. So I think you guys covered that, and you got sent to some, I think, to Cashin maybe for some games. So you are a well-traveled young man.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the business. You've been there, you've done that, you've been around the state yourself, and we're proud to say we're tri-state. We cover Northwest Oklahoma, Panhandle of Texas, Southwest Kansas. So in all, on a good year, you're looking at 90-some schools. I mean, I think the last time we counted about 92, and that's give or take, because obviously we've had some consolidate over the years. Some unfortunately kind of shut down, but man, it is an area, that's for sure.
Just off topic, what's the distance between Fargo and Gage and Fort Supply? Where's their school at? Who gets to house the school?
So they split it up essentially to where each Fargo will have their own school. Gage is combined with them. This Fort Supply has their own school. But as far as the athletics, they'll kind of bus around within the I would say 20-mile radius is what you're looking at there between all those. So it's really interesting how they work that out. They find a way to do it. So still split schools, but as far as sports, they find a way to make it work between the three.
Yeah, and I kind of came into some of that back in 2022 when I did Thomas Terrier football, which Thomas is Thomas Fay Custer, and
exactly.
I think when it comes to football, the Thomas folks hedge out the other communities. But anyways, we traveled to Texoma and we played it at Texoma instead of at Panhandle State in Goodwell. And they had homecoming for Goodwell that night, which I said, here we are playing the Red Devils, and there's kids in purple. And so anyways, but that's kind of the fun part about sports in the rural areas in western and northwestern Oklahoma. But I tell you, it's really neat the way kids in this quadrant of the state get rewarded and get to play in the 101 Classic Bowl. And just looking at the schedule, Tyler, you guys have so much upcoming, and it's going to be such a fun week And really, if you want to bear down and talk about it, I know a lot of schools look at this senior class 2025. So many schools had banked on these kids to perform at such a high level. And, I've talked to different people with different theories, but it does seem to be that just school after school after school had just long, athletes with a lot of experience and a lot of talent that came out of this class of 2025.
Oh, it is. And, just to get into one of the events on the basketball side, boys basketball this year, when we go through our selection committee selects these kids, what we like to term best of the brightest of the tri-state, and try to obviously represent all the schools there that would submit a kid. But when we go through splicing these rosters, because you got to separate them out, we play a doubleheader of basketball on each night, so you got a game one and a game two. This boys basketball game that's upcoming on Thursday during Class Bowl week, my goodness, I mean, we've got more 15-point plus scores this year than I could remember since I've been here. And in terms of height, I think there's more kids on this roster that is 6'2" and bigger than
Yeah.
there are less than that. I mean, it is a stacked field. I've seen on the girls' side, obviously, the Sealings, the Leadies, the Weatherfords. I mean, there's so many teams that will contribute to that throughout the years. But man, this boys basketball games, they're going to be stacked.
Well, and then Hooker also. I mean,
Oh,
Hooker is
yes.
this has got to be one of the big classes that the Hooker Bulldogs sent out to compete.
It is. They're going to have 5 players on the football roster. They'll have a few really good representatives on the basketball side. Lawdog is going to kind of headline that. And, you look at some of those other big classes, mention Hooker, can't mention Hooker without talking about Fairview, another big class that's well accomplished.
Yeah.
And they're going to be
A.
well represented. Unfortunately, had some injuries, so you may not see some of those kids play, but they'll be at the games. Those will be really fun. So, it's just, and it happens every year like that. It's tough to leave kids off the roster because we do have to kind of narrow down that selection, get a ton of submissions. But I promise you, these kids that you see play, my goodness, I mean, they are all well accomplished, generally great students of their schools, and good pillars of their communities.
Well, we'll start with football, and I tell you something. Looking at this roster, and on the west side includes Weatherford and Clinton, which are kind of in my wheelhouse, but also Sayre and Thomas, and I guess Watonga might be on the east. But I'm telling you, just looking at the 3 from Weatherford, and then Malachi Lorne from Clinton, and then also 3 from Elk City. There's a lot of kids from right here in the I-40 corridor that are going to come up there and compete. Steele Chisholm is a SWOSU commit, as well as Nick Jett. And I think Cutler, I feel terrible now. Cutler Rollins may be going somewhere to play as well. But just so many kids just on the West roster. You could hold a big all-star game with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you throw in those Hooker guys we talked about. Laverne joins the party. They've got some state champions sitting there with guys like Felix Still, Tate Hope, Grace Level. Canadian Texas, I'm telling you right now, folks, if you don't know about Canadian Texas football, they produce every single year some of the best athletes you're going to see, and they always go deep in the playoffs. Wyatt Davis, for Canadian Texas, that's on that West roster. He's the school leader in tackles. He's an all-time record holder there. So he was a phenomenal linebacker. Yeah. And, it's just the Elk City guys catch, Cole Bowie, Easton Sloan. Mm-hmm. I mean, those are great players. It just doesn't stop. And that's just one half of it, like you mentioned. You move over to that east side, you get the Watongas of the world, some of those Woodward kids that I know pretty good, some of that ceiling talent. You get to Timberlake there. It is a smorgasbord of the who's who. Of course, Fairview's also on that east side.
Oh, so yeah. Jax Bernard. I mean, we would be remiss with doing this episode talking about the 101 Classic Bowl without mentioning, I mean, the just amazing high school career Jax Bernard had.
Oh, it was fantastic, and it was something to behold. We both watched it, kind of progress, and you just wonder when it was going to end, right? Yeah. I mean, when these guys, was that run going to end? And unfortunately it did, but my goodness, it's just special what they accomplished.
Well, and I remember watching him as a sophomore maybe, and just thinking to myself, well, all he does is roll out and throw. Well, he's a heck of a rollout passer. I mean, he does a really good job in all facets. But I mean, he was deadly. When I even watched him in some 7-on-7 a couple of summers ago, and that kid is just he is a wheeler dealer, and I'm sure missed where he's going to play, but I'm sure.
So I've got that for you. He actually, unfortunately, suffered a knee injury there at the end
Yeah.
of the football season, the playoffs. Northwestern picked him up. So the
Okay.
trio of uh, Easton Hamer,
Yeah.
Jax Menard, and then Bowden Miller. They're all Fairview kids
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
They are all going to Northwestern. Hamer's going to run track. He's a phenomenal track star, great receiver as well. Miller's a
Hmm.
great baseball player. So that will be a lot of fun to watch those guys. And quite honestly, kudos to a place like Northwestern realizing, hey, we got some real talent in our backyard. Let's see if we can get these guys.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that, Tyler, also down here in Weatherford area with SWASU. I
Oh,
know two
absolutely.
seasons ago, I think I don't remember if it was Roselle McCoy or if it was the coach before him recruited the Hauk kid,
Yes, yes.
Hauk,
Yes, Austin Houck,
and
fantastic athlete.
I
Yes.
would bet he's probably ready to make a breakout at SWASU this season. Just such a great player, and then also the new coach Andrew Rice. He's hit Southwestern Oklahoma as well also. So it's a lot of fun. But the Woodward kids on that roster, I know I've called their name quite a bit over the past couple of seasons, and then also like I mentioned, Malachi Lorne from Clinton, one of the running backs listed on the West team, and then Cutler Rollins, Nick Jett, and Steele Chisholm here. And then also, I'd be remiss without mentioning the Thomas kids. Stinson Ward is a big, massive lineman, as well as Hunter Freeberg, and then also Brody Willis. So, last one, Zane Allen Sayer. He's been a gamer for the Eagles out in Beckham County for several years. He's a good kid and a great player also.
Well, and the cool part about this event, getting into what the week's really about, the game's kind of secondary by the end of it. The cool thing of this, these guys are going to check in on Wednesdays, football guys. And the founder of this event, Mike Mitchell, or one of the founders, I should say, back in the 80s, he owned KMZ, which, is our 92.3. That's kind of sister to K101 there.
Yeah.
And he got together with Doug Williams, then owner of K101. They said, hey, we got to have an all-star football game. Too much good players, too much good talent out here in the area, and their main goal was twofold. One, they wanted to give out scholarships to honor some of these. I mean, we've got, and you could speak to this. A lot of these kids that we see come through this event are not only great athletes, but academically, they are some of the stoutest you're going to find
Yeah.
in their school systems. I mean, they're sharp,
Yeah.
and so they honor that with scholarship. And then on top of that, one of the main goals was, and this was a Mike Mitchell deal, for these kids to come to Woodward for this event throughout the week and say, I don't care if they've got no money in their pockets, $100, whatever, they are not going to pay for a single thing. That's what's
Yeah.
really unique about the Class Bowl in that sense. They house these kids, they give meals, shirts, they get to go to the events, obviously the other games and whatnot. And it builds up to that celebration on Saturday night. It just started with football back in the day. They added basketball not too long after the start.
Yeah.
And then over the last few years, they decided, hey, softball's a great sport in this state. We need to add it. Baseball came along with that, golf. And so it's extended to an amazing full week now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is really cool. I know my first year as sports director at Wright Media in Weatherford, I jumped on a lot of the stories that were coming out of there, and a lot of our area players that were playing in the 101 Bowl, because it is a little bit of a lag time sports wise. I mean, the high school sports are over, college is done, and so you're looking for stuff. So it's also great for a sportscaster standpoint as well, to be able to and pull from those stories and talk to kids that are going to play in there. You mentioned softball, and I tell you, fast pitch. I'm once again going to show my W homerism. But you've got Marley Teasley playing in that, and I can't think of too many players throughout anything in the state of Oklahoma that have been much bigger than Marley Teasley has been to the sport of fast pitch softball. And she's a Grand Canyon University commit. She's coming up there along with Carson McPherson for the Lady Eagles. But then you've also got other programs like Leedy and I know Arapahoe Butler made a run in fast pitch as well, and just a lot of great talent that I see on that fast pitch roster.
I mean, and to add on that, JC Kellen of Alva, I mean, what a dominant player she was during her career. All these Arnett girls you see, Landry Bayless, you would talk
Yeah.
about an athlete. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The Moreland girls have been great as well throughout their careers. Kensley Blacker's a little firecracker. You get to the Sealing girls, not only great success in basketball, they wind up generally competing pretty solidly when it comes to the softball side. And then the Shattuck girls, they've claimed slow pitch state titles and they've been right there in fast pitch. The Woodward girls, Jordy Oakley's kind of a mix. Shaq Woodward final year dad came over, coach baseball, and she's just outstanding. Briley Douglas Fisher, a great catcher in the state. You mentioned getting back to your girl Marley Teasley. My goodness, this is
Yeah.
what the event creates, where you see such an elite player get to test her mettle against some of the best, truly from all classes.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got small school kids playing against the big school kids, their teammates with them, and it just makes for a really fun environment. I will tell you right now, softball in terms of capacity has been the best attended event since we had it. I
Wow.
mean, they're at the Boomer softball field. They have to bring in extra bleachers because it will go out to the foul poles in terms of
Wow.
the attendance.
Neat.
So it's been awesome to see that, and people really embrace it, and they love their softball up here, as you know.
Well, and you mentioned the are they lady boomers or boomerettes?
Just the boomers. They dropped
Boomers.
the
Okay.
boomerettes.
All
So
right.
they used to be the boomerettes, and that's kind of been debated. They just go by the boomers on the girl side. So
So one of the boomers you mentioned, Briley Douglas Fisher, want to give a shout out to her because I've seen her play for the last several years, and she's a very tough competitor and a great athlete. She suffered that knee injury last season that really I know it affected their playoff hopes going into last season, and then fought her way back, and then the Woodward girls were pretty tough out in the playoffs in basketball. But just she's one that I will always kind of look back on and remember how hard she played against when I was calling games against Weatherford. But great athlete is Briley Douglas Fisher.
oh, absolutely, and a good kid. And I say that about all these kids truly, but
Sure.
she is one that when you want to say, hey, this is somebody that you need to emulate when it comes to representing the program. She is absolutely one of those girls through and through, multi-sport athlete, and is most of the time the best player on her team when she's
Yeah.
on the field. And her you mentioned her fighting through that knee injury, and that was I know tough for her over the summer. And really, on the softball side, early that was kind of tough for her to fight back from. But when she got the confidence back, I mean, it was just like she had never left.
Yeah.
And watching these kids, and you can attest to this, being in this business, grow from that eighth grade or seventh grade or sixth grade or whatever you may meet them initially to where they are at seniors,
Yeah.
and watch them develop into not only great athletes but good young adults. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's so rewarding about an event like this, because you get to see those families come together, appreciate these kids one last time, and
Yeah.
all they got to accomplish.
Well, and then also there's times when there are kids that choose not to play at the next level, or maybe don't have the opportunity or just choose to do something else. But to get selected for the 101 Classic Ball has got to be a big honor. I know it had been mentioned by people, it's been going on 37 years or 30, is it 37 or 38?
37, yes, sir.
37.
That's
So you're going back that's almost as far as when I graduated high school. So, you're talking about an event that's probably meant a lot to not just kids nowadays, but their parents as well. And so, really a fun deal. Now, golf is held at Boiling Springs, correct?
yes, sir. Is
Have
the
you played
official
that
home.
course?
I have not got to yet. Been a little bit busy, but I intend to at one point. It is such a beautiful course. So I've been out, walked it with some friends when we've been out there covering that
Yeah.
golf class bowl event. My gosh, what a fantastic course that is!
Well, I know that they've hosted regionals in the past, and they do a great job taking care of that. From what I've seen, I'd love to get out there and play that, but I got to say one name I see on there that I wonder if you might not kind of go at him if you run into him is Cash Shipley of Alva, because he's a former Woodward Boomer that made the move to Alva, and they made quite a run, and he was a big part of it in several sports. But I do remember him being a Boomer.
Yes, and that was at a time. And it's real interesting, and you deal with this because you've got to see it, especially Weatherford having as much success as they've had, where you get a kid that may come into a town that realizes, hey, there's an opportunity to do some great things here. Cash, first of all, great kid, love him to death. He had history there at Alva when he was growing up, right? So had some family ties there. And
Yeah.
when he made that decision, it was one of those things where the boys program here at Woodward was in a state of transition, and there was some uncertainty there.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit more certainty there at Alva. So I can't blame a kid making that decision, and I've kept great relations with him since that. And he's developed into a good young man
Sure.
and a good football player, good athlete all around. And he's just kind of a unique guy. I
Yeah.
really, watching him transition from saying, "Hey, I want to get after this basketball deal," to realizing there was good opportunities for him in football as well. So
Yeah.
excited to see where he goes with
Well,
that.
that's really cool. And once again, on boys and girls golf, a lot of names that are recognizable from other sports. And that's the great thing about golf is kids, that play football or basketball throughout that maybe don't play baseball or whatever. They some of them get out on the links and do really good. I got see Yukon Butler, Jackson Smith from Weatherford. And then also one name that I noticed, being that they are on the on our network, is Kylie Hildebrand from Watonga, which she will be in the golf K101 Bowl, K101 Classic Bowl, and that's got to be a lot of fun for the kids to get out there because I mean, it's probably gets competitive, but I mean, it's not like going out and putting on a helmet, on Saturday night and trying to knock somebody out.
Oh, no doubt about it. It definitely gets competitive because there is, you get a little tournament there. We do the 1 day tournament. You want to be a winner of that. But, for those kids to be out there and kind of see a course like Bowling Springs and just have that camaraderie and know, hey, we're kind of the cream of the crop here for the tri-state. That's really neat for them. And, getting to
Yeah.
be with their teammates a final time or some of their rivals even out on the links at other times always great. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, hey, is there ever a bad day of golfing?
No,
Mr.
there
Ramsey?
is not. So we're visiting with Tyler Riggs from K101 in Woodward. He's the voice of the Woodward Boomers, and we are here talking 101 Classic Bowl, the 37th annual, coming up the week of the 25th. Or the 26th, I'm sorry, and it's just a lot of fun for kids and also the city of Woodward as well. Monday, May 26th, they'll have a baseball doubleheader beginning at 4. And just looking at this roster, Tyler, there's a lot of kids that I've seen play as well on this one also. And I know Woodward's got some great players on there. Weatherford's got Camden Pasher, who's a SWASU commit. And then also looking at the Elk City contribution as well. This is going to be a lot of talent on one diamond.
Oh my goodness. The consistent talent that we get from baseball in terms of the small schools and large schools is absolutely fantastic every year. And baseball has been now part of it for the last few years to the point where this will be our first doubleheader for baseball. We had just been doing one game, and last year we had so many great submissions and felt like it's time to expand this,
Yeah.
to get truly the best of the best in here for the group. And you ran through some of those great names there, guys that are just going to be competitors. You look at a guy
Yeah.
like Ford Smith, was a multi-sport star for Covington Douglas. He's a heck of an athlete. You get through the Fairview guys, talk about them already a little bit. They're going to be really good. The Leadies, the Hams of the world, they're always producing fantastic players. Rappo Butler, no surprise there. Same with the softball side.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that, and here's kind of a cool tie-in that I don't think a lot of people realize this. I mentioned the scholarship side earlier. They give away, the Class Bowl Foundation gives away a $2,000 scholarship for each sport. So
Wow.
by the end of the week now, since we've added the sports we have, you're looking at nearly $20,000 in scholarships that go out to these student athletes. And part of the reason they could do that is obviously great community support to a few of the businesses, not only in Woodward, but in the area.
Sure.
And sometimes it's individuals. For baseball, how that got rolling, Mr. Jordy Mercer, I don't know if you remember him, former
Yeah.
Oklahoma State
Taloga,
player,
right?
Detroit Tiger, Taloga guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is actually our partner for the baseball scholarship. Went
That's
to him
outstanding.
when we were starting it, and he jumped right on. And
That's cool.
yeah, Mr. Ramsey, we had him that first year. He handed out scholarship himself there, and you couldn't meet a more humble guy.
Wow.
I mean, for all the success that he had, just will greet you with a warm smile, talk to
Yeah.
you like he's known you forever. And so to see people like that go on, have success, and want to come back and give back to the community in the way that they do with this class bowl thing, it is really awesome.
That is really cool. And if you mention Taloga Sports, he generally gets mentioned pretty
Oh,
quickly.
absolutely. Right
But
there with Donita Drake.
that's right. Who's that?
Donita Drake
Yeah.
Rogers.
Sorry, I
Yes, who's now
misunderstood
president of
you for a
Langston.
second.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just and that's the fun part about this also. If you got, something like that with a tie-in, it just makes it so much better at times. And so I think we forgot hoops and looking at the boys basketball, a lot of players in this one here, and one that I'm particularly focused on and be interested to see how he fares is Merritt Oiler, Luke Peffer. He's been a good player for the Oilers for several years. And then some of those kids from Hooker and Texoma, I think, have also been pretty solid.
Oh, they have. Mr. Pfeffer got to see him up and close during the course of the season against Woodward. Tough kid to stop. I mean, just old school, strong guy inside and carries himself really good. Those Texoma kids, I mean, have made multiple trips to the state tournament and
Yeah.
have done so in a lot of times where people don't even think about them. They work together really well. They all are unselfish. Obviously Nate Hidalgo, I think, is kind of I want to say headliner, I guess you'd say, of this event, right? He's going to be the one a lot of people are watching. 6'7", really skilled is he, and you get to match up with some of that extra height. And I'd be remiss to not mention Hunter Bugable. I mean, talk about Okarchi. God, what a program! And we'll hopefully get to see Luke follow next year to the Class Bowl as well, and that's going to be fun to watch him. So. I don't think you could go wrong with either of those games. And I can't spill the beans yet because I helped split up those rosters. We'll hopefully get that out soon. But they try to balance it up based on points and height. And this year, that was really difficult with how many great scores there were. I mean, Wesley Carrillo, if you haven't seen him, NFL Yarbrough, that's a 20-plus point scorer right there. Yeah. We've got guys like that all over the place. Camden Richardson out of Hennessy, dynamic scorer. Colton Dillingham out of Drummond. I mean, you could go down the list. You could find – I would dare say we only had about a handful of kids that did not average at least 10-plus points a game in their career, or their senior year, I should say, which is not like that every year, I promise you.
Well, the thing about Camden Richardson is he wasn't supposed to be in Hennessy Blue. He was supposed to be in Sayre Maroon. He should have been scoring all those points for Sayre. But no, his dad, Brian, I came to know him real well, and they had a lot of success up in Hennessy with the Eagles up there. But like you mentioned, just so many names coming off of there, and just a lot of fun is what that's going to be. And then also looking at the girls, Tyler, it's just a whole lot of great players there as well. I know just looking at some of these players, just to headline it, is 6'4" Hammond Lady Warrior Henley West, who's going to West Texas A&M. She'll have a lot of fun up there, and I'm sure a lot of girls will have a lot of fun competing against her.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, and what a dominant performance she had in the state tournament this year. I'm curious to see how she follows that up at Classic Bowl. With some of these kids, I go to Cade Manuel last year, ceiling quarterback, obviously state champ. He gets to the football game last year, and Mr. Ramsey, he puts on probably his best performance of the season in the Classic Bowl, helped the team put up a record number of points, hung almost 60 on the opposing side.
Yeah.
And you ask him after the game, like, hey, what does this game mean to you? And he said right there live that I was a kid in the stands watching my, peers play this game back in the day, and I couldn't wait for my turn. I mean, that's what it means to a lot of these kids. So, and you go through the town, you mentioned, of course, Henley West, the Ceiling Girls, Kristen Briggs, Paige Coons, Tegan Hamer, like that's going to be fun. They're state champs, great players in their own rights. Oklahoma Bible Academy, that's a trio of state champions that were really fantastic this year. The Moreland Girls, that group did things that hasn't been done in a couple of decades there, Moreland, in terms of making it to area and being real tough outs. The Merritt side of it, Gracie Carnes. I mean, Merritt, the Oilerettes, oh my goodness. You want to talk about tough. So, and it's just it never ends with the talent that you see on the girls' side of basketball. We're really, I think, blessed in this area of the world, similar to softball, that some of the basketball talent we see out here is just next level, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it gets I think it gets underlooked at times. And I think just the team I covered, Weatherford, if you take that same team and their same success rate that they had over 3 and 4 seasons and put them in the metro area, they're probably talked about a whole lot more. So I think a
Oh,
lot of
absolutely.
players and talent does get overlooked out here at times. But that's one of the great things about the 101 Classic Bowl. But so, anyways, as I mentioned, you'll start Monday with baseball. Then Tuesday, you've got golf and girls basketball. Is that boys and girls golf at Boiling Springs on Tuesday?
Yes, sir. That would be both of those combining there. So golf
Okay.
just at
Then
9 a.m. with boys
Wednesday,
and
May
girls.
28th, will be the doubleheader for fast pitch softball. Boys basketball will be Thursday. That all of these kind of start different times, but boys on that Thursday will be 6:30, and then Friday there's a little bit of a break, but it's a nice awards banquet for the football 101 Classic Bowl. Talk about what'll all entail with the banquet for the players.
So the banquet, you get those football guys out there, give a nice meal. Usually, the Woodward Elks like to cook some steaks, sometimes it's brisket. I mean, it's top notch. I promise you that on the food
Yeah,
side. And then we usually have a fantastic a guest speaker. Um, it can kind of vary on
yeah,
that. We've had some excellent past pro players, coaches, things of that nature come through and deliver a great message to those players and their families that are in attendance.
yeah.
And then it really kind of wraps up with highlighting coaches of the year, players of the year for East and West. And that's always special because with how stacked the field usually
Yeah,
is with football,
yeah.
it's tough to pick through those guys. I've had to do that the last few years, and that is not easy. I promise you. Uh, but to really, honor them a final time before that football game is really neat, and that kind of sets the tone for that Saturday with the parade,
Yeah.
all that anticipation building to the football game.
Yeah, and who doesn't love a parade? I mean, I think
Yes.
more towns ought to have more parades. I mean, it just seems like you can get people down there. Just have have somebody driving down the street for them to look at.
Yes, and we get those football guys on trailers, and they enjoy that. Of course, one of the great things about class ball, and I quite think most of the time when I say the football game is secondary, is because we bring almost 250 band members from all these
Yes,
different
and
schools that come out and perform, and they
thank you
go
for
through that
remembering
parade.
that. Yeah,
Yes, and now of course expanded to cheer and dance as well with that, so you get a lot of cheer and dance uh, that come through that. And there's an honor squad, and you want to talk about those girls just they make the honor squad, and to them that's their career highlight because it
that's
means
really
that
cool.
much to them. So, but getting the band kids out, that's the performance at halftime, and now we've added drones. Last year we added a drone show
Yeah,
for the football game, and that's really neat. We'll bring that back this year with fireworks. So it's a whole festivity, and Mr. Ramsey, here's the other part too that's really cool. When we get to that football game, we've had Bob Berry Sr. call the Class Bowl football game in the past. We've had uh, Toby Rowland come through quite a few times, voice of the Sooners, of course.
yeah.
And now the last 2 years, and he's done it multiple times before, Dave Hunziker has come and called the football
Really?
game. Yes.
Okay.
So great ties with all those guys in terms of, Rowland and Hunziker and the crew that come and call that. And it's really neat to see them. Me and you kind of grovel about this sometimes. Go all those college pro guys, they get all the advantages, they get all the stats fed to
Yeah,
them, this and that. I promise you, when you see these guys in action in terms of this football game, you realize, okay, yeah, they are true pros.
yeah,
CJ Montgomery, one of the kind of the leaders of the class bowl side of things, told me a story a few years back about how Bob Berry Sr. was doing the class bowl one year, calling it, and they had him situated kind of in a spot where unfortunately you couldn't see the scoreboard,
oh.
but he's still rolling off the time and the score. And CJ's trying to figure out how. It's because Bob Berry's looking at the reflection of the scoreboard on
And
the
he's reading it
window and
backwards.
reading it backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, that was and that's a I won't get off on a tangent about
Right. Yeah.
senior,
Not
but
trying to get you there. Yeah.
so many people in the 90s and the early 2000s just gave him grief. It's like, well, you do that for years, and he got older. I mean, sometimes, but he could probably still go out and call a game a lot better than people half his age. So I mean, that's a funny story, and I tell you, that's really cool that Dave Hunziker comes out and
Well,
does
yes.
the 101 Classic football game because that's just really That's got to be a big thing for the kids to know that the voice of OSU sports is or OSU football is doing their games.
Oh, it is. And, I tell you this about Dave and then Toby as well, because I've got to be both of them on this, is that when we talk about humble guys, I mean, they will sit there, tell you the stories, want to get to know these kids. They put in their homework before this event,
Yeah.
and they really, appreciate the magnitude of what it does for the area. And that, I think, is something that you only find with a few people that have that type of position to be able to come down and say, hey, yeah, let's give this high school thing a go. And it's neat to see them, like you said, kind of add to that aura of the event.
Definitely. Well, listen, we're looking forward to hearing about it. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to make a trip up there for one of the games involving some of the Weatherford kids or even the Thomas kids, since I kind of have dual loyalties there. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's beginning May 26th. That's a Monday, and we'll go on through Saturday. And be sure and check out the 101 Classic Bowl Facebook page. 101 Classic Bowl on Facebook. We'll share that to our Lawdog Sports page as well, and keep up with all the events and all the announcements that they have for that. And then also, we'll be praying that we get out of this weather pattern that we've had going on too.
Absolutely. Need that weather to stay away for that week, especially that way we could get you up there and play on that golf course.
Well, yeah,
and have a good time. That would be something.
Some Boiling Springs time would probably be just what the doctor ordered.
Exactly.
All right.
Hey, appreciate you, Mr. Ramsey, so much.
He's Tyler Riggs. He's the voice of Woodward Athletics, as well as a lot of other sports on K101 there in Woodward, and covering northwestern Oklahoma in a great way. And we run into each other quite a bit with regards to our play-by-play. And then also a lot of fun getting to go back and forth with him over some sports here on the Western Oklahoma Sports Night podcast. Be sure and subscribe and follow on YouTube at Lawdog Sports. Also our social media at Lawdog Sports on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Facebook as well. And then also you can get links to everything that we do, all of our podcasts, YouTube, and social media on our webpage, lawdogsports.com. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog. He's been Tyler Riggs here with me visiting about the 101 Classic Bowl coming up in Woodward at the end of the month on May 26th. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll talk to you real soon.